afternoon, good morning, good evening. Hello, hi, wherever you are. Welcome back to another uh, insightful episode of Life with Siphe. Welcome back. It's been 2 weeks. I must say, super proud of the consistency from my end. I really love doing this and I really enjoy it. And I'm really working on not letting life get in the way of me being committed and consistent to you guys. So before we start the episode, please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't so that you get notifications every time I upload a new video. Also, of course, please like, and leave comments so we can have conversations and dive deeply into the topics that I bring forth. But also, of course, if it takes us to another layer, more than welcome to go that route with you. So I hope you guys have been well. I hope you have been taking care of yourself mentally, spiritually, physically, psychically. And I just hope you've been kind to yourself, man. Whew, let me breathe. So this week's episode, the topic I have decided to dive a little deeper in with you guys, something I'm always thinking about. Also, can I just go on a side rant, right? With me wanting to be so committed and so consistent with the show, I'm finding myself second guessing a lot of my topics. But Yazi, it's true when they say what you're looking for is always staring right back at you. Constantly, I am being guided by the title of this channel, which is Life with Siphe. And Siphe may not be going through what you like or something that enlightens you or something that interests you. But at the end of the day, you know what? It's my reality and I am sharing so that whoever finds themselves in such a space, there is context dialogue out there to be able to access so that a person goes through that transition or that chapter with less anxiety because you don't know what to expect, right? So with that being said, something close to my heart, I have recently, and I'll say, when I say recently, I mean in the last year, have tapped into more into. The topic for this episode, ladies and gentlemen, is titled Masculine Energy combined with feminine energy. So I don't want to say masculine versus feminine because I'm not trying to create a narrative here that, ooh, the advantage of this, the advantage of this is the highest. No. I believe generally as Siphe, they work together in a balance to be able to achieve what we see as a whole, right? In any context you wanna put it in. So I wanna tap into, first, of course, just going into what masculine energy is and what feminine energy is. Okay, so masculine energy is seen as a verb, a doing word, an action. Like, you know how men are seen to be brave, courageous, and you think of the more physical element of things anytime you bring in masculine energy of whatever situation you're dealing with. Instantly our minds takes us to, physically strong, but it's basically a doing, a verb, an action, right? And then you've got feminine energy. Now feminine energy, a lot of people see as the inside because it's always regarded with soft. Some people make the mistake to take the softness and almost call it weak, but softness is not weakness, people. I mean, no. So yes, the feminine energy is your more intuitive side. It is. I like the definition of it being called the divine feminine because divine is almost like an energy that connects you to the source of it all, right? Which is the supreme being. So in layman's terms, a person could say masculine energy is the outside, feminine energy is the inside, right? But it's not that simple, I'd like to think. So I want to take that and put it in the context of my life as we see. So I've seen in the years where, as a young black woman, you find yourself leaning more into an independent um, woman, so as to say, right? Especially if you're able to do for yourself. But I have a problem with that narrative because people or men in society seem to think independent women are independent because I don't need a man. I want a man in my life. I can do it all by myself. And honestly, that is the wrong narrative, right? Yes, I am able to do A, B, C, D, and that makes me fall under independent. But it does not necessarily mean that I wouldn't love to have a husband. I wouldn't love to share and have a balanced home with masculine and feminine energy, and not a case of where I, as Siphe, am having to always exert my masculine side and my feminine side. And by the way, each and every human being has both people. They have a masculine and a feminine. We just, from time to time, as human beings, tend to fall more deeper into the one side due to whatever reason that may be, right? So someone asked me, Siphe, why is it that you find that it's always with black women where you find the term independent woman or girl boss or whatever? You know, you never hear like a white, Indian, colored, or any other race of a woman have such a stamp of wanting to be an independent woman. And you know, I want to bring that conversation to this front because I think that is a very important conversation that we need to be having as people, as females, as black females. My answer to that, ladies and gentlemen, is that if the black man was taken away from the home and the women had to step into their more masculine energy in order to try and replace, which you can't really replace because it's a balance for a reason, what does that then do for the generation? Which also I am part of that generation. I grew up in a household where there are men, there are masculine people in my family, but it is the women that have shined for me. It is the women that have abamise ikaya. It is the women that have had to tap more into their masculine side, whether they consciously or unconsciously decided to do that. But situations cause them to have to operate from a more masculine side because you are out here having to be a provider, you're out here having to be a protector, you're out here also then still having to nurse the feminine energy that you also carry, right? So with that being said, now I have seen a lot of times in my life I used to have a bitterness about me where, you know, if a male would have said to me they love me or they claim to love me, whenever I went through some difficult thing in my life where the feminine, I mean not the feminine, the masculine part of me had to come through strong, I'm always ready. I'd rally up and be ready to go, right? But a part of me would always be like, yo, where's that man who said they love me now that I need to deal with this? And you know, because it's demanding me to access more of my masculine side. But now I can sit here and tell you that actually I needed to go through that because both exist within me, my masculine and feminine side. But then sometimes when you're just always going through things one after the other, it becomes your default setting, which can condition you to turn into more of the one side than the other. The ideal situation is to have a balance, which is where I am right now at this point in my life, where I have learned that I have very masculine traits about me where my masculine energy comes through, and then but though I also do have a feminine side about me that I enjoy, that I want to treat and love on and water on and live my most feminine desires out, if that makes any sense. What I'm trying to say, people, is, right, remember, whatever you water grows. So with that being said, take a look at your life and take stock, right, of the times where you have had to step more into the other role, whether you were male and you've had to step more into a feminine energy type of situation, or vice versa, and intentionally make the decision that, you know what, I am both, and I will water them equally in order to have a balance within myself. So I acknowledge both parts of me, my feminine and my masculine. I need both. Both coexist, both are for my good. And anytime I can see myself stepping more into the one, I'm quick to remind myself, Siphe, no, be kind to yourself. You're being a little too hard now if I've stepped more into my masculine side. If 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 I'm not making space for my vulnerability, my softness, my intuition, my being, my just being kind to Siphe, then I realize, okay, I'm letting the masculine sort of like run away with me, sort of. But I also want to urge the males watching this, Indoba, it's important for you as a male to look into that feminine side of you as well. You know, your emotions, your being. Do that self-check. Are you okay? What do you need? What kind of support do you need? That does not make you weak. That makes you love yourself. And remember, you cannot ask anything of the next person if you can't do it for yourself. So my plea with each and everyone watching this, start those conversations in your circles, in your workspaces, with your families, and look at how you were raised, how the roles in history have had to change because of certain dynamics happening within African homes specifically, and create a space for yourself where it's okay for both worlds to exist within you. Yeah, I guess that is my 2 cents about masculine and feminine energy. I want to see, oh, there's one last thing I didn't touch on. I think that's very important. I don't want to lie, guys, I'm going through a lot. By a lot, I mean I'm learning a lot of things. And it is, if you look at any of my social platforms, my tagline is unlearning and unlearning to go back to my true self, right? I wrote that, I think, about 6 years ago. But I think when I wrote it, I didn't understand how deep really it would take me into my journey. And the unlearning part is so challenging. It's so intense because it needs me to go into my cracks, into my foundation, into questioning each and everything and not leaving any stone unturned, right? So that's just, unlearning is a whole episode of its own that I will definitely do with you guys, and just give you a glimpse of where I'm at. And it's like I have all this information and I want to share it, but I want to share it kakuhle, and I want people to be able to relate and to understand it, and to start something so that you as a person watching can then continue on the journey to go find out more for yourself. But there'll be a time for that. But the reason I had to mention that is that back to the topic being masculine and feminine energy is my favorite, which I have recently discovered, that as human beings we are so connected to nature, you would never believe it. Like, yeah, that's another topic. But what I'm trying to say is, if you look at the sun and if you look at the moon, the sun is a masculine energy. It is the masculine in us. The moon is the feminine energy within us, right? So if you read up on these 2 elements and what they stand for and what they do for us in the solar system and all of that, take those definitions and apply them to your life, and you will see why it is important for the two to balance within your life, Why? The masculine needs the feminine, vice versa. Just as the sun needs the moon and the moon needs the sun. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to another whopping episode of Life with Siphe. I hope that was educational for you and insightful, and I hope you go look into that more for yourself. Remember, we do this so we can heal, so we can learn, so we can engage, and man, just be. Because honestly, I just love this. I love this. Also, I need to end this episode by saying I heard something today that blew my mind away. Absolutely. It is said, right? And I hope whoever needs to hear this is listening and you take it and you run with it. Whatever makes you feel alive, do it. Whatever it is, don't question yourself. Don't want someone else's permission. Don't if you know that, like as Siphe, I'm so many things in my life. I do so many things, but guys, there is nothing like sitting behind this camera and just talking and expressing and communicating. Yeah, we're gonna get to a point where there are other people and it's vibes and it's, you know, a show, a breakfast show. Okay, I just took it to my head. But anyways, going back to what I heard, it was like, whatever makes you feel alive, do it. Here's the part that blew me away, because it's not the first time we've heard this thing of do whatever makes you feel alive, right? That's your ancestors knocking. That's your ancestors coming through you. That absolutely for me, just, if for anything, don't ever question yourself. Just do it, because those are your people talking to you and they're taking you somewhere, and trust in it and run with it. Just like I'm running with this show, Life with Siphe. Guys, thank you so much for tapping in and listening. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and yes, I just want us to have meaningful conversations, honestly. And my favorite part of the show, remember, do that thing that makes you you, man. Till next time, stay safe, take care of yourself. Remember, whatever you water is what grows. So water both of them, your masculine and your feminine, in order for you to have a balance. Siphe, namhlanje sangasesemhlanga mihla, signing up. Ntombi yakanozweni bafana umchumane Thelezi. Nina nawe lithukela ngoba zimambile mina baqoqa. Ngicama kushinda thinda zixabisa ngento thandas. Have a lovely, I'm not sure when you're watching this, evening, morning, rest of your day. But please, don't forget, do that thing that makes you, man. Till the next episode, I love you. From me to you, stay shining.